1930s, Nazi Germany. Democracy is destroyed, and the Nazi Party eliminated all political opposition. All power is centralized in Hitler's person, who became absolute dictator of Germany under the title of Führer, or leader. The first concentration camps are already established, and Jews are persecuted and imprisoned. To influence public opinion, Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels makes effective use of film and mass rallies. One of the most prominent representatives of this criminal Nazi regime and unofficial First Lady of the Third Reich is his wife, Magda Goebbels. Magda Goebbels was born on 11 November 1901 in Berlin as Johanna Maria Magdalena Ritzel. Her father, Oskar Ritzel, was a rich building contractor and engineer, and her mother Augusta was a servant. They married around the time of Magda's birth, and they divorced 3 years later. In 1908, Magda's mother Augusta married Richard Friedlander, a wealthy merchant from a Jewish German family. Magda bore the surname Friedlander after she was adopted by her Jewish stepfather, and they had a good relationship. The family lived in Brussels, where Magda was enrolled at the Ursuline convent and received the basics of her excellent education. After the outbreak of World War I in 1914, the family moved to Berlin the same year Magda's mother divorced Richard Friedlander. However, Magda's stepfather was not the only Jewish man who played an important part in her life. During her school days, Magda met a young Jewish man named Chaim Arlosoroff. Arlosoroff was then a socialist Zionist, and he would later become an important politician. The two fell in love. According to Chaim's sister, Magda wore a necklace with the Star of David that Chaim gave her, and they even planned to emigrate to the British-ruled Palestine together. However, they broke up, and he left for Palestine in 1924. In 1920, traveling to school by train, Magda met Gunther Quandt, a widow twice her age. He turned out to be one of the richest industrialists in Germany, and he fell in love with Magda. Quandt proposed to Magda, but demanded that she change her Jewish surname from Friedlander to Ritzel. She agreed, and they got married in January 1921. Their son Harold was born in November the same year. To Magda, this marriage opened the door to unlimited wealth and social connections. However, while Magda was looking after their son Harold, as well as Quandt's 2 sons from his first marriage and 3 children of a deceased friend, Gunther was busy building his business empire. Life as a young rich wife and mother did not satisfy Magda, and she found a lover. When her husband discovered she had had an affair, they separated and divorced in 1929 when the Great Economic Depression started. Even though the economic crisis hit Germany hard, it did not impact Magda's lifestyle at all. She led the life of a wealthy divorcee as Magda's ex-husband was paying her a generous alimony, which enabled Magda to maintain the lifestyle she had become accustomed to. She was young and independent, but bored. When in 1930 Magda attended a meeting of the Nazi Party, her life changed completely. She met Joseph Goebbels, who would become the Nazi Minister of Propaganda, and Adolf Hitler. Magda and Joseph became lovers, and they got married in December 1931. Adolf Hitler was the best man at their wedding, and he was very fond of Magda, and he had become the couple's close friend, often staying at their luxurious Berlin apartment. In 1933, Hitler was appointed as Germany's new chancellor, and Magda became one of the most prominent figures of the Nazi regime and unofficial First Lady of the Third Reich. This is because Adolf Hitler's relationship with Eva Braun was kept secret until their death, and Hitler had created a public image of a celibate man dedicated entirely to Nazi Germany with no domestic life. Between 1932 and 1940, Magda and Joseph Goebbels had 6 children, each with names starting with H in honor of Hitler, who was often photographed playing with them. Goebbels' family also belonged to Hitler's inner circle at Berghof, which was Adolf Hitler's vacation residence in the Bavarian Alps from 1935 until 1945. Even though the Goebbels family was presented as the ideal family of the Third Reich to the public, the reality was very different. Joseph was a womanizer, and Magda knew about it. With one of his mistresses, famous Czech actress Lida Barova, Joseph Goebbels fell in love, and their affair lasted from around the Berlin Olympics in 1936 until 1938. After Magda approached Hitler and asked him for permission to divorce her husband, Hitler stepped in and ordered his propaganda minister to stop the affair at once. As a result, Bauerova fled to Prague, and Hitler arranged for publicity photos to be taken of himself with a reconciled couple in October 1938. However, Magda too had had an affair with Karl Hunke, who was a state secretary in the propaganda ministry. When the Nazis came into power in January 1933, Josef Goebbels had to deal with a Jewish past of his wife too. When they started to persecute Jews in Germany and restrict their civil and human rights, Chaim Arlosoroff, Magda's ex-Jewish lover, was then an important political figure in Palestine. Arlosoroff came into Germany in 1933 to negotiate the Havara Agreement, which would allow the immigration of German Jews to Palestine along with most of their property. It is believed that he tried to contact Magda to help him secure this agreement, as he learned that his ex-girlfriend was married to one of the Nazi top leaders. However, they did not meet, and allegedly she warned Arlosoroff that his life was in danger and he should leave Germany immediately. 2 days after his return from Germany, he was assassinated on a beach in Tel Aviv. It is believed that Josef Goebbels was responsible for the assassination and had sent 2 Nazi agents to kill Arlosoroff. In June 1938, Richard Friedlander, Magda's stepfather, once a rich man, now an impoverished Jew, was deported to the Buchenwald concentration camp, where he was put to forced labor in a stone quarry. Friedlander died in February 1939. There is no evidence that Magda attempted to intervene to save her stepfather. World War II started on the 1st of September 1939. Magda's son Harold, from her first marriage to Gunther Quandt, became a Luftwaffe pilot, and Magda spent her time raising her 6 children, entertaining the wives of the foreign heads of state, comforting war widows, or working with the electronics company where she traveled on a bus like her colleagues. While some witnesses claim that in her inner circle she started to be critical of the regime, she never stopped publicly supporting Hitler and the Nazi Party. Because she also knew about the horrors and atrocities the Nazis were committing in the name of what they believed to be the Aryan master race, she knew that her situation, if Germany lost the war, would be very complicated. As a result, towards the end of the war, she suffered from severe depression and intense pain, due to which she was frequently bedridden. In April 1945, the Soviet Red Army entered Berlin, and Goebbels' family, including 6 children between the ages of 4 and 12, moved into Hitler's bunker under the Reich Chancellery Garden on 22 April 1945. It was obvious that the war was lost, and Magda refused several offers from others, such as Adolf Hitler himself, to flee. She rather chose a different end for herself and her children because, according to her own words, the world which would come after Hitler and National Socialism would not any longer be worth living. Thus, after Hitler and Eva Braun committed suicide on the 30th of April 1945, Magda and Josef decided to follow them with their children on the following day. On the evening of the 1st of May 1945, Magda ordered the SS dentist, Helmut Kuntz, to inject her 6 children, dressed into long white nightgowns, with morphine to make them unconscious. After that, Magda Goebbels, with the help of Ludwig Stumpfegger, Hitler's personal surgeon, crushed an ampule of cyanide into each of their mouths. Once she had killed her own 6 children, Magda and Josef walked up the stairs to the garden of the Chancellery, where they committed suicide. After Josef shot Magda and himself, their bodies were doused with petrol and burned. Even though Magda could escape this horrible end, she rather chose to die and take her 6 innocent children with her. As with many fanatic Nazis, Magda Goebbels could not imagine life after Hitler and the Nazi Party would be over. The regime, which was responsible for the murder of millions, she represented until the bitter end. With much of Germany in ruins, the war in Europe ended 7 days later, on May the 8th, 1945. Thanks for watching the World History Channel, and don't miss our next videos. Click the subscribe button now for more interesting clips. Give us a like, and see you in the following episode.